Welcome to the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast.
Hello everyone, this is Jarvis Scott with What's Happening in Birmingham. Today I have the honor and pleasure of being Miss Rachel Harmon. She's the Deputy Director of Talent Development for the City of Birmingham. She's here today to talk about this great new program that she's spearheading. So, Rachel, good morning. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Great. So, tell me a little bit more about Birmingham Promise.
Yes. So, the Birmingham Promise really is an execution of the vision of the mayor and of the Education and Workforce Development Transition Committee. And when they did interviews, hundreds of interviews, and they did a lot of research, and when they looked across the landscape of the city's economy, they saw two sort of realities that needed to change. One of which was, particularly for young people, not being able to get connected to the right education opportunities, and then after that being connected to quality jobs. And we define quality jobs pretty comprehensively, but one of the biggest components of that is how much you get paid, right? So we saw that on one side. And then on the other side of our economy, we saw employers who are in these fast-growing industries like healthcare and information technology and advanced manufacturing who had these critical positions that they were constantly unable to fill. One of the most severe examples of that I like to bring up a lot is in the IT sector.
Okay.
There are 6 times as many jobs as there are people to fill them at the bachelor's level in Birmingham, in our regional economy right now. Those two realities cannot continue. And so there are a lot of things that we as a city and in partnership with other key organizations have to do to change those realities. But the Birmingham Promise emerged as a really important first step for us. And so what the Birmingham Promise is, in its most simple terms, is on one side for high school upperclassmen, so juniors and seniors, they will have access to youth apprenticeships. I'm going to come back after I finish this and talk about what youth apprenticeships are, but just know that for juniors and seniors, they'll have access to paid youth apprenticeships in these 4 industry clusters that we've identified: business and finance, healthcare and life sciences, energy and engineering, and then information technology. On the other side of it, for Birmingham City School graduates who finish high school, they will have access to funding and support for post-secondary education. So that may be 4-year college, it may be 2-year college, and it may be for some of the other students going straight into a full-time apprenticeship when they finish high school. So let me talk about what apprenticeships are, and then we can kind of move on and I can go deeper or into some other things. So apprenticeships have been in existence for centuries, right? They're really common in places like Germany, which the mayor was able to go there actually earlier last year in the fall with Councilman Hilliard and Josh, who's the director of our department. So Germany has a really strong tradition of apprenticeships. The UK has a really strong tradition of apprenticeships. The US does not have the same tradition, but what they are essentially is you work and you learn and you get paid all at the same time. They're really common in the skilled trades, so like plumbing and electricians. Those are the places where we're used to seeing apprenticeships, but they're starting to be used more in fields like healthcare. And you know, the structure of them varies all of the time, but the basic concept is that, you know, if you're Jarvis and you know you want to be a coder, you spend part of your time in a class, you spend part of your time working at a tech company, and you get paid while you're doing both of those things. For young people, you know, we think that this is really important for high school students to have access to it. They need to be able to make money. They need to be able to get real world work experience. And then we need to complement that with academic learning that helps support what they're learning while they're on the job.
Okay. So, and one statistic I read that, I don't know whether it was, you sent it to me, a news clip, and it was like, half of the people that graduate, they don't go to a 4-year school.
Yeah, and it's actually not just 4 years, 2 or 4 years. So, and this is for Birmingham City School students, about half of each graduating class matriculates to a post-secondary institution within 1 year of graduating. So we know, you know, there are a lot of students that may go and life happens, and so 5 years later they enroll, or 6 years later, so they're not captured in that number. But the reality of the matter is that we know that there are a lot of students that are incredibly talented, they're driven and they're hardworking, but they don't have access to post-secondary education. And one of the biggest barriers, it's not by any means the only barrier, but one of the biggest barriers is cost. And so the Birmingham Promise Initiative is designed to eliminate that as a barrier and to really help every student that's in our public school district understand post-secondary education as an option for them. That's the sort of long-term vision of where we want to get.
So, from what else you gave me was, well, you picked 20 students for the pilot program this summer.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Yeah, so we decided to do a really small, discrete pilot this summer for a couple of reasons. One is because we wanted to test the method out. You know, as I said, youth apprenticeships are not something that are really common in the U.S. at all. They're really not common in the South. And then looking at Birmingham or Alabama more broadly, there aren't a lot of examples of this. And so we wanted to make sure that we get the model right. So students who participated this summer, they had access to a few things that we think are critical. One, they had a living wage. All of them got paid $14 an hour. And so that just gives them the ability to not have to worry about finances in the same way that you might have to in other circumstances. Each of them had a dedicated workplace mentor. So this is not just your supervisor that makes sure you get your work done, but it is a mentor who is really invested in your professional growth, right? So each of them had one of those. And the third thing that they had access to was a digital learning platform. And so that really covered a lot of the foundational skills, whether it's conflict resolution or communication, all of the skills that we all know as professionals, you need to have those skills. And so they were able to learn about that online, either on their phone or on a computer, and they got to do a few of those every week. So what we tried to build was as robust of a program as we possibly could. We partnered with a group of employers across the city that understand the importance of building sustainable talent pipelines, and that we're willing to sort of try a new model. And we've seen some really awesome things happen this summer. There's actually an op-ed that came out this morning in the Birmingham Times that was written by 3 of the students who went through the pilot, Camille, Tavares, and Jarvis. And so it gives you, that article, I think, gives you a really good sense from the perspective of students why these sorts of initiatives are important. We've had students who have decided that they're going to change their major. We've had students who have met professional mentors or met people who are in the field they're interested in that they had not been able to sort of meet professional mentors in that space. And our goal is just to see more of that from more students. But we thought it was important to start small and to learn and to be able to iterate so that when we scale in this upcoming academic year, we know the model that we're implementing works because we've seen it work.
One of the things I looked as far as research was about Buffalo, kind of did a similar program. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Yeah, sure.
So one of the things that I want to, I know I talked about it in the beginning, but I think it's helpful to just reiterate because the Birmingham Promise is a comprehensive initiative. It's designed that way. But that means there's a couple of different components. So you have this scholarship component, and then, Birmingham is, as far as I've seen in my research, one of the only cities that's taken that scholarship component, but actually combined it with this youth apprenticeship model so that you're pouring into students in the last part of high school before they actually get in a place where they're ready to go into a post-secondary institution. So just want to, earmark that, right? So Buffalo, they have a Promise Scholarship. They implemented it, I think, in 2009, close to 2010, and they have seen some incredible outcomes in pretty much a decade. So they've been able to decrease the gap between Black and white students in terms of what percentage of them graduates from high school from 17%, so it was a 17% gap, and it went down to a 7% gap. They've been able to increase their overall graduation rate by, I believe, 17 to 18%. And again, all of that's happening in the context of a decade. And so when you think about the sort of social or economic outcomes that we're talking about, to see that level of change in that period of time, you don't see that all the time, right? Now, why? Why has it done that? I think it goes back to what we talked about at the sort of start of this conversation, which is really creating post-secondary education in different kinds. It's not always 4-year, right? But different kinds of post-secondary education or post-secondary training, creating that as an option in the minds of every student that is in your school district. When you do that, and when you're successful in doing that, it completely changes outcomes, right? It changes what students see as possible in their lifetimes. And then the other part of it is that you start to be really intentional about making sure that students have access to all the resources that they need. So in Buffalo, for example, they've been able to be more creative in the way that they use public funding so that they now have mental health clinics in their schools. They have Saturday programming at each of their schools, so that schools have started to become, I was able to go visit and see it. Schools have started to become a community institution. I think the sort of specifics of what that looks like in Birmingham will be different, but the idea is all the same, is that once you have this opportunity, this incredible opportunity, how do you bring all of the right partners to the table to be courageous, frankly, in the way that we invest in our young people? We're lucky to be able to partner with different institutions. It's not just the city. Our school district has been really, really supportive. The superintendent, school board, in thinking about how we build these opportunities in a way that's sustainable and in a way that is responsive to what students have told us they need. The last thing I'll say, I know I've been talking a long time
No, you're
now,
fine.
but the last thing I'll say, I, along with my colleagues at the Division of Youth Services, we had the opportunity to go. We did a listening tour with Career Academy coordinators at each of the high schools, and we did a set of focus groups with high school students at every high school in our district. And so through that, we are trying to create something that is not just what we think needs to happen, but what we've heard from our young people and from educators who are doing this work on a day-to-day basis is necessary. And so we're excited to be able to do this in a collaborative way.
Well, two things I like about this program. One thing I like about it is it indirectly retains millennials after graduation instead of moving and going somewhere else. Right. And second, it gives millennials or people that's in graduation, I like to say, even because a lot of times in college, we always think right after close to graduation or that day after, what do I do next? But you already know what you're going to be doing because you're already in the program or testing something out in the field or testing the waters. So one thing I really like about this program a lot, and I didn't know, like going back to my number one point, was that it keeps millennials here in the city of Birmingham, which employs people in jobs.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a great point. And that has been one of the more surprising things, actually, that we've heard from a lot of the students who participated in the pilot this summer. They've said, I just didn't see this side of my city. We had one student who he was working at a fast food restaurant. The company that he's been placed with this summer is right around the corner.
Oh my!
From that restaurant that he's working at, and he said, "I never knew that it was there. And if I had not been in this program, I probably would never have found out, one, that the company was there, and then two, what the company even does." And he's an engineer, and he's working at a company that has a really strong engineering core. And so, just back to your point, it is really critical for opening up. We are at a place as a city, there's so much potential, there's so much promise, there's so much excitement and growth. And what we want to do is make sure that young people, right, who are here are able to not only contribute to that, but to be able to drive it and lead it. And so that is one part of it that excites us a lot. And a lot of students have said, before this, I didn't think I was ever going to come back to Birmingham. And now I have a reason to think about coming back. And those are the things that we love to hear.
All right. Yeah. So if you're watching this video right now, I think it's two types of people that are watching it. Well, three types of do it. One, if you're a child, because I think people probably watching the video, how can I get involved? The parent, how can I get my child involved? And last, if I'm a local business, if I want to participate in this program, how can they get involved?
All great questions. So for students and parents, we will start doing recruitment or outreach in the fall of this upcoming academic year. We're working on what our full strategy is going to look like. But suffice it to say, if you are at a high school, if you are at a Birmingham City High School, you will hear from us in the fall about how you can get involved, what the application process looks like, and we'll make it fun. I mean, a big part of it for us is really learning about our students and how we can support them. So that'll be the way for students and parents. It will happen primarily through the schools. We will do, as a city, the Division of Youth Services, they have a lot of communication that already goes out to parents and educators. We'll obviously push through those avenues as well, but we'll do a lot through the schools themselves. For employers, please contact me.
Okay, all right.
Please contact me. We are excited, and we think it's really important to make sure that students are in work environments that are going to contribute to their professional growth. And so all of the employers that we had sign on this summer, and all of the employers that we have sign on as we move forward, you are really going to be, again, investing in the life of a young person in our city, which in and of itself is important. But additionally, you're going to be helping yourself build a talent pipeline of young people that, go to college and they say, oh, I know this company. I work there. I have a mentor there. So maybe I can go back there when I'm a junior or a senior in college and start interning, right? And so we want employers to see it from both of those lenses. There's a benefit to the student, but there's also a really important benefit to the employer. If you are interested, please contact me, and we'll sort of have our conversations about making that placement possible for this upcoming school year.
And what's your phone number?
My phone number is 205-520-6460. A better way to reach me is my email, which is my first dot last name RACHEL .HARMON @birminghamal.gov. But I will get back to you as soon as I can on that if you're interested in participating.
Oh yeah, one thing I did see, like, if people want to donate, because you're trying to turn this into like an endowment somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. So one thing that's really important to be clear about, as I mentioned, there are sort of these two sides of the promise. There's the youth apprenticeship side and there's the scholarship side. On the youth apprenticeship side, we're driving, we're moving. We have an internal team of folks that are working on this every day to get it in place for this upcoming academic year. The scholarship side, cities, municipalities in the state of Alabama cannot administer scholarships. We cannot fundraise for scholarships. So there are a lot of restrictions in what we can do on that. So the city will not be driving that. We've done a lot of background research about what these programs should look like, and I could talk through some of those program design elements. But there will be a fiscal agent, and that'll be announced in the fall, that will really drive the scholarship and then help create sort of a structure for the fundraising and the campaign associated with that.
All right. Well, right before we go, I'll be remiss not to give you an opportunity to tell people a little bit about yourself, how you came to Birmingham, interesting story, and I loved your title, Deputy Talent Development.
Yeah.
So just kind of tell folks,
Yeah, well, I think, in terms of the title and the position and why I came to Birmingham, it was really being inspired by the vision that the mayor has set around economic opportunity in his city. And that's not just talent and workforce development that I work on. That's neighborhood revitalization. That's been a huge priority, right? That's the small business and entrepreneurship work that my colleague Tanae is moving forward on every single day. And the work of many of our other departments that are, again, trying to create an economy that has not just space, but opportunity for every single Birmingham resident. That was a vision that just fundamentally resonated with me. I am originally as I was telling you, I'm originally from Central Illinois, so I am a Midwesterner through and through. I grew up in the middle of cornfields. But I had the opportunity to do some early volunteer work in the Mississippi Delta, starting through Habitat for Humanity and then transitioning into AmeriCorps, where I was able to work in an elementary school, rural elementary school. And what I learned during that time, and it's a lesson that has just stuck with me and continued to motivate me, is that there is talent everywhere in this country and in this world. In fact, there's often a tremendous amount of talent in communities that have not been invested in enough.
Okay.
Communities that have either not been given or in some cases had opportunities robbed of them. And it is truly our duty as public servants to connect that talent to the right opportunities. And so when I saw what the team here was building, I scooted over from Jackson, Mississippi to be a part of it and to help build this future.
All right, and one thing I want to say too, she is our first Rhodes Scholar on the podcast.
Yes.
Congratulations on
I have
that.
definitely had some awesome educational opportunities, and a lot of it, again, has been driven by the communities that I've been able to be a part of and that have poured into and invested in me over the years. I'm always grateful to them.
All right, well, any final thoughts you want to add or anything?
Yeah, I mean, again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk about this initiative. It is something that we are, that is extremely important to us as a team, as an administration. I had hoped that we would be able to have a student here because their perspective is honestly the one that matters the most.
Yeah, we can bring it back another time.
And again, for all of the folks who are watching, thank you for learning about this. We look forward to building this in collaboration with our community, with our residents, and with our students. And we hope that you will join us in our effort to build a future for all of us.
Well, I know you call the program the Birmingham Promise, but I like to say it's almost like Birmingham Hope because it gives hope for the young people.
Yeah.
Sorry, my throat's scratching.
No, you're fine.
It gives hope to the young people that there's something after high school if they don't have to go to college. I think that's more important than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole piece of it is huge, and so we've started to see this in this pilot that we've done this summer, and I think we're only going to see more of that as we grow and build.
All right, well, Rachel, well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching the videos. Please check out what'shappeningbirmingham.com for more videos, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all again, and bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Please check out our website, app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos today.